They work hard, they stay busy, they push themselves forward. But sometimes if you take a closer look, you realize they don't even know what direction they're headed. They've got energy, they've got ambition, they've got drive, but no clear destination. And what happens when you've got drive but no direction? You spend a lot of time moving, but you never really arrive anywhere. It's like GTTING in your car, filling the tank, stepping on the gas, and driving all day. But without a map, without a plan, without a destination, you use up all your energy, burn through your RES or your CES, and by the end of the day you're just tired. You've covered a lot of miles, but you haven't really gone anywhere meaningful, and that's how a lot of people live. Busy, driven, exhausted, but not effective. I've seen people climb the ladder of success quickly, only to find out later the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. That's what happens when you let drive outrun direction. You end up successful at the wrong thing, and believe me, there's nothing more discouraging than realizing. You've worked hard, stayed busy, sacrificed time and effort, only to discover it didn't take you where you really wanted to go. So here's the principle: before you step on the gas, decide where you're going before you push yourself harder. Ask yourself toward what drive is good. Drive is necessary, but drive without direction is wasted. It's not about how fast you go. It's about whether you're going where you actually want to end up. And here's the good news: you get to choose the destination. You're not locked into the path you're on. You're not stuck with someone else's map. You can decide today where you want to go financially, personally, relationally, spiritually. You can set your sights on the kind of life you want, and then align your drive toward it, because once you know where you're going, then all that energy, all that ambition, all that drive, it finally counts. It finally adds up to something meaningful. That's what this is about: understanding why drive without direction is dangerous, how to define where you really want to go, how to create a plan that breaks the journey down step by step, and how to align your daily actions with your true destination. Because if you don't know where you're going, you'll never arrive. But if you do know, and if you're clear, then your drive will carry you exactly where you want to be. Drive without direction can be dangerous. It feels like progress, it looks like progress, and from the outside it might even sound like progress. But at the end of the day, it often turns out to be motion without meaning. And nothing wears a person out faster than working hard, pushing forward, and realizing later that it didn't actually take them anywhere. They wanted to go. I've met people who are constantly busy. They work long hours, they stay in motion, they talk about how much they have on their plate. But when you stop and ask them, busy toward what, driven toward what result, there's often no clear answer. They've confused activity with accomplishment. And that's one of the great dangers in life, mistaking movement for progress. Just because you're moving fast doesn't mean you're going in the right direction. It's like climbing a ladder. You can climb quickly, you can climb with energy, you can climb with drive, but if the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, all that effort gets you to the wrong place, and sometimes it takes years before people realize they've been climbing the wrong ladder. That's a tragedy. To spend a decade of effort only to arrive somewhere you didn't really want to be. I've known people who poured themselves into their work, but never asked why. They sacrificed time, energy, RELATIONSHIPS, everything just to stay in motion. They were driven, no doubt, but they were driven without direction, and you could see it in their faces: frustration, fatigue, emptiness, because nothing is more discouraging than to realize you've been running hard but running in circles. This happens because drive feels good. Drive feels exciting. It's energizing to stay in motion, to keep the engine running. To look busy, people admire it, they even applaud it, but without direction. Drive BCOMES, dangerous ITCONSUMES. Your time, it drains your energy. And it leaves you with nothing to show for it. That's the danger of aimless drive. You wake up one day, and all you have is exhaustion without accomplishment. So what's the lesson? The lesson is this: never confuse drive with destiny. Drive is only valuable if it's taking you where you want to go, otherwise it's just noise. Otherwise it's just dust in the wind. You must pause long enough to ask yourself where you're really going. What all this energy is for, because the danger of being aimless is that one day you'll look back and realize you went nowhere fast. This is why clarity matters. So much drive itself isn't the enemy. Aimlessness is energy. Without vision is waste. Motion without direction is danger. If you don't pause to choose the wall before you climb the ladder, you could end up successful in the wrong place. If you don't stop to choose the road before you drive, you could end up far away from where you really wanted to be. I've seen entire businesses collapse under the weight of aimless drive. They worked harder and harder, producing more activity, more meetings, more projects, but without a clear direction. They were like a ship without a rudder, tossed around by every new idea, every new trend, every new distraction. Eventually, the energy ran out, and so did the results. That's the danger of mistaking drive for direction. So, here's the truth: being driven isn't enough. It never has been. The world is full of driven people who still aren't successful, still aren't fulfilled, still aren't where they want to be, because drive by itself get you there. Drive has to be aligned with vision. Energy has to be aligned with purpose. Direction has to come first, then drive will carry you where you want to go. That's why we start here, understanding the danger of aimless drive. Because if you don't know where you're going, you'll never arrive, and if you don't stop to decide the destination, your drive will take you somewhere you never intended to be. The next step, then, is learning how to replace aimlessness with vision, because vision gives direction, and direction gives meaning to drive. Vision is the compass, it's the picture of the future that gives meaning to all your effort. Without vision, drive is like a car without a map. You're moving, but you don't know where you'll end up. With vision, every step has purpose, every mile has meaning, every sacrifice has context. That's the power of vision. It turns activity into progress and progress into fulfillment. Now here's what I've noticed. Most people don't actually lack drive, they lack vision. They wake up every day, they go to work, they stay busy, but ask them where exactly they're going or what it is they want, and the answer is usually vague. They'll say they want things to get better, they want to be successful, they want more out of life. That sounds nice, but it's not clear, and here's the truth: vague wishes create vague results. Clear goals create clear results. It's like sailing, the same wind blows on us all. Opportunity, challenge, chain, difficulty, what determines where you arrive isn't the wind, but the set of the sail. A clear vision is the set of your sail. If you know where you're going, you can adjust, you can adapt, you can respond to the winds of life. Without vision, you're just drifting. With vision, you're heading somewhere specific. Think about it. If you were to build a house, you'd never just start stackingbricksat random. You'd have a blueprint, you'd have a picture of what the house will look like. Vision is that blueprint for your life. It shows you what you're building, what you're aiming for, what you're creating. And without it, you end up with a pile of bricks that never becomes a home. I remember years ago meeting someone who was frustrated with their progress. They told me they had been working hard for years, but didn't feel any closer to success. And after LISTNNG 2, their story, I asked a simple question. What does success look like to you? And you know what they couldn't answer? They had never defined IT. They were working hard, TOWARDS, something they had never DESCRIBD. No wonder THEY felt lost once they finally took the time to write down exactly what they WANTD. Everything changed there. Drive had a target there. Energy had a destination. That's the power of vision. Here's the discipline. Write it down. Don't just keep your vision vague in your mind. Capture it on paper if you want financial success. Write down the exact numbers, the exact conditions, the exact timeline. If you want better health, write down what that looks like for you in real terms. If you want deeper, RELATIONSHIPS. Describe the kind of connections you want to build. The clearer the picture, the stronger the pull. Vision WRKS like gravity. IT pulls YOU forward, but it only pulls if you've defined it. And don't be afraid to make your vision big. Most people aim too low and guess what they hit? They achieve small goals and wonder why they still feel empty. A big vision, EXCITES. It stretches you. It's CHLLNGS. It keeps you alive, but big or small, the key is clarity. A blurry vision, motivate you. A clear vision will pull you out of bed in the morning. With energy, and let's be honest, vision is what separates people. Two people can have the same drive, the same intelligence, the same OPPORTUNITIS. But one has a clear vision, and the other doesn't. Guess which one succeeds? The one with clarity, because vision channels drive. It turns scattered energy into focused effort. It turns random business into purposeful achievement. So ask yourself, what is the picture of your future? If you don't know, you're drifting. If you do know, you're sailing. And remember, your vision is your choice. You don't have to accept someone else's map. You don't have to follow someone else's idea of success. You get to decide what your destination looks like, and once you do, every ounce of drive you've got finally matters, because now you're moving TOWARDS, something you actually want. That's the power of vision. It's the difference between wandering and ARRIVING, between drifting and sailing, between being busy and being fulfilled. And once vision is clear, the next step is turning it into a plan. A plan that MAKES, that picture real, step by step, day by day. A vision without a plan is just a dream. It may inspire you for a moment. It may excite your imagination, but without a plan, it never becomes reality. The bridge between vision and achievement is planning. That's what turns ideas into action, dreams into discipline, and pictures of the future into progress. You can measure. I've met plenty of people with wonderful visions for their lives. They can describe what they want. They can paint a picture of success in their minds. But when you ask them how they're going to get there, the answer is vague. They have enthusiasm, but not a roadmap, and without a roadmap, even the most inspiring vision will fade away under the pressure of daily life. Now here's the truth. Planning doesn't have to be complicated. A lot of people hear the word plan and immediately imagine complex CHARTS, SBREADSHETS, or long strategy documents. But planning is simply breaking the big picture down into smaller STEPS. It's taking that inspiring vision and ASKING. What's the first step? What's the next step? After that, you don't need to see the entire road. You just need to see enough to get moving. Think of IT like building a house. The vision is the blueprint. It shows you what the finished home will look like. But a blueprint alone put a roof over your head. You need a plan for LAYING, the foundation. RAISING, the walls. Installing the roof, step by step sequence. BY sequence. Skip the plan and the blueprint stays on paper. Follow the plan and the blueprint. BCOMES, a real, livable home. One of the greatest lessons I learned early Was that big goals must be broken down into daily disciplines. If you want financial freedom, the vision might be clear to live without debt, to have investments working for you, to create security for your family. But the plan is smaller, saving a portion of your income each month, learning how money works, investing consistently. Avoiding wasteful spending, that's the plan, that's what brings the vision to life. The same is true with health. The vision may be clear, you want energy, strength, vitality, but the plan isn't glamorous, it's going for a walk each day. CHOOSING healthier foods, GTTING, enough sleep, drinking water, nothing dramatic. Nothing fancy, but those simple steps repeated over time create the health that FULFILLS the vision, and in RELATIONSHIPS, it's the same. The vision is clear, you want strong, loving, supportive connections, but the plan is in the DETALS. Spending quality time, LISTNING, attentively, COMMUNICATNG, honestly, showing appreciation regularly. Small, intentional, HABITS, that transform RELATIONSHIPS. Over time, without the plan, the vision remains just a nice idea. With the plan, it becomes your reality. Here's the other thing, planning REQRES PRIORITIS. Not everything can be done once a plan forces you to decide what matters most right now. Because if you try to do everything at the same time, you end up OVERWHLMED. But if you put first things first, one step at a time, you build momentum. And momentum is powerful. It makes the next step easier and the next, until you've created unstoppable progress. I've seen the difference between people who plan and people who don't. The dreamer without a plan is always excited. In the beginning, they talk about their vision with passion, but soon life gets in the way. DISTRACTONS come OBSDACLES show up, and without a plan, their vision slips away. On the other hand, the planner might seem less dramatic at first. They're not talking as much. They're not shouting their vision from the ROOFTOPS, but quietly. Step by step, they're following their plan, and a year later, 5 years later, they're living the vision. The difference, talent or luck, it's planning. So remember, this vision gives you the why, but planning gives you the how. Vision inspires you, but planning DIRECTS you. Vision paints the picture, but planning BUILDS the STEPS. And the great news is you can plan your life. You can design it. You don't have to live by accident. You don't have to drift. You can choose a vision, create a plan, and follow it daily until the vision is real. Once you've built the plan, the next step is critical, aligning your drive with that plan. Because plenty of people have plans written down, but their daily energy still goes in 1-0 directions. Drive without alignment is wasted. The next lesson is learning how to take all your ambition, all your energy, and aim it exactly where it belongs, so that every day, every action, every bit of drive is carrying you closer to the destination you've chosen. Drive by itself is not enough. You can have all the horsepower in the world, but without steering, all you'll do is burn rubber and spin in circles. That's what happens when people create plans but never align their daily drive with those plans. They're busy, they're active, they're moving, but in directions that don't line up with where they said they wanted to go, and in the end, they wonder why results never show up. I've seen this over and over again. Someone has a clear vision, they've even written down a plan. But then Monday morning comes, and instead of putting their drive into what matters most, they let distractions take over. The phone rings, the inbox fills. Small emergencies pop up, and suddenly, the drive is going in 100 different directions. They're exhausted by the end of the week but no closer to their goals. Why? Because they weren't aligned. They were driven, yes, but not driven toward the plan. It's the difference between motion and momentum. Motion is scattered activity. Lots of movement, lots of noise, but no progress. Momentum is a line drive. Every action tied directly to where you want to go, and when your drive is aligned with your vision and your plan. Momentum builds, you begin to feel that compounding effect where every day's work adds to the next and progress becomes natural. Now here's the key: alignment takes discipline. It's easy to get busy with minor things. It's easy to give into distractions that look urgent but don't really matter, so don't major in minor things. Because plenty of people do. They give their best energy to things that make little difference in the long run and then wonder why the big goals stay out of reach. Discipline is saying no to the minor so you can say yes to the major. So how do you align? You start by reviving your plan daily. You remind yourself where you going. You ask what actions today will move you closer to that destination, and then you guard your energy. You don't give your best hours to minor things. You put your best hours, your best focus, your best drive into what matters most. That alignment is what creates effectiveness. It's like steering a powerful car. The engine is your drive, the steering wheel is your direction. Put them together, and you'll cover incredible ground, but take one without the other and you're either stalled or lost. That's why alignment matters so much. Without it, drive is wasted. With it, drive becomes unstoppable. And here's another key: alignment isn't something you do once, it's something you do constantly. Because everyday life will try to pull you off course. Distractions, problems, other people's priorities. They're all pulling at your steering wheel. If you're not checking regularly, you'll drift, but if you align every day, every week, every month, you keep yourself on track. And over time, that discipline compounds into extraordinary results. So remember this: being driven is not enough. Having a plan is not enough. True progress comes when your drive is aligned with your vision and your plan. That's when you stop scattering energy and start building momentum. That's when you stop being busy and start being effective. That's when you stop burning out and start arriving. But even with alignment, life is not smooth sailing. There will be detours, distractions, and unexpected storms, and that's why the next step matters so much. Learning how to stay the course and adjust when life tries to knock you off track. Because direction, set once forever, it has to be revived, protected and adjusted along the way. Staying the course is one of the greatest challenges you'll ever face. Setting the vision is exciting. Making the plan is motivating. Aligning your drive feels empowering. But then life shows up, and life has a way of testing how serious you really are about where you want to go. Will always be detours, always be delays, always be distractions. The question is, will you stay the course or will you let circumstances pull you off track? Think about an airplane. A pilot never takes off and just assumes the plane will land at the destination. With no corrections, the truth is throughout the flight, the plane is constantly off course. Wind, weather, air traffic, turbulence. But the pilot keeps checking instruments, keeps making small adjustments, keeps steering, and because of that discipline, the plane arrives exactly where it's supposed to be. That's how life works too. You don't just set the direction once and forget it. You check, you adjust. You correct over and over again. Now here's what I found: most people don't fail because they set the wrong goals. They fail because they drift, they stop checking, they stop adjusting. They let distractions steer them little by little, until one day they're miles away from where they intended to be. It doesn't happen suddenly, it happens gradually, and, if you're not paying attention, you even notice until it's too late. That's why regular self-checks are critical. You've got to pause often enough to ask yourself whether you're still going where you intended to go, or if you've drifted. You've got to measure your habits against your vision, your daily actions against your plan, because if today's actions don't line up with tomorrow's goals, you're off course, and the longer you wait to adjust, the harder it is to get back on track. Staying the course means learning how to handle setbacks, because no matter how good your vision is, no matter how strong your plan, life will throw obstacles in your path. You'll face disappointments, failures, unexpected changes. The key is how you respond. Do you react emotionally and abandon the plan? Or do you respond thoughtfully, make adjustments, and keep moving? The people who stay the course are not the ONES who never face problems, they're the ONES who refuse to quit when problems come. Here's something I discovered about resilience. It doesn't mean ignoring difficulties. It means absorbing them, adjusting, and pressing forward anyway. If the path is blocked, you find another route. If the schedule changes, you adjust the timeline. If the first attempt fails, you try again with better information. Staying the course is about commitment, not perfection. It's about refusing to let temporary setbacks decide your permanent direction. One of the greatest disciplines is protecting momentum, because momentum is fragile. It's easy to build when everything is going right, but it's also easy to lose when life gets tough. That's why habits are so important. They keep you moving even when motivation disappears. Habits are like they carry you through the hard days, the discouraging days, the days when you don't feel like continuing. If you've built the right habits, they'll protect your momentum until motivation returns. I remember a businessman who once told me he had the perfect plan, but if kept interrupting him. And I said, of course it did. That's what life does. The question isn't whether interruptions will come. The question is whether you'll stay the course despite them, because anyone can keep going when everything is easy. It's those who keep going when everything is difficult who end up arriving at the destination. So staying the course isn't about stubbornly refusing to change, it's about wisely refusing to quit. Adjust, yes, correct, yes, but don't abandon your vision. Don't abandon your plan, because if the vision is worth it, the plan is worth protecting. And if the plan is worth protecting, the drive is worth sustaining. That's how you make sure all the effort, all the ambition, all the sacrifices lead you somewhere meaningful. And that brings us to the final lesson here. Today, vision alone won't get you there. A plan alone get you there. Drive alone get you there. Even alignment by itself guarantee it, but combine them all, and then add the discipline to stay the course and adjust along the way. That's when you arrive. That's when you don't just move fast, you move purposefully. That's when your drive takes you exactly where you always wanted to go. That's why vision is the starting point. Vision gives you the picture of the future, the destination worth reaching. Planning then takes that vision and breaks it down into steps you can follow day by day. Alignment makes sure your daily drive is actually serving the plan instead of scattering energy into distractions. And staying the course ensures that when life throws storms your way, you still arrive exactly where you intended. This is the formula for achievement: clarity of vision, discipline, of planning, alignment, of drive and persistence. In staying the course, each one matters, each one builds on the other. Leave one out, and the journey falls apart, but put them all together. And there's nothing you can't achieve, so here's the challenge. Don't just measure how hard you're working, measure where your work is taking you. Don't just count the hours you put in. Count the results they produce. Don't just be driven with purpose. Because the end of the day, life doesn't reward business. It rewards effectiveness. It doesn't pay for activity, it pays for achievement. Decide where you're going, build the plan, align your drive, stay the course. And one day, you'll look back not with regret but with satisfaction, because you didn't just work hard. You worked smart, you didn't just run fast, you ran in the right direction, and that made all the difference.